Well, well, well. As the sun is glistening on the chosen one of Demon Slayer, another hero has shown up to save the day. And his name is Kedgehog. Which is it's a great name. It's a really good YouTube name. Shout out to Kedgehog. Why Demon Slayer hate is so forced. The most overhated anime ever in existence. I don't know why. They say Tanjiro isn't a good character. They say Zenitsu's too loud. They may have a point on that one. That one there's no debating. Even Demon Slayer fans know that. They say the animation carries the anime. Yet every single one of you watching has watched every single season, read the manga, and you're foaming at the mouth to watch the movie. Some of you have probably even moved to Japan just to watch the movie, yet you'll still be typing the classic Demon Slayer is a mid. I have Demon Slayer over JJK. I have Demon Slayer over Solo Leveling. I have Demon Slayer over Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Oh, there, I finally said it. Man, that anime was boring. Yet Demon Slayer never bored me. It is what it is. If I find an anime enjoyable, more enjoyable than another one, then I prefer it to the one that I didn't enjoy. It's as simple as that. Is it a crazy take? I'm aware of that. I'm aware that the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood has a deeper story, has, you know, dark vibes to it. Even though, you know, in Demon Slayer episode 1, you know, we see a whole family get eviscerated by demons. Anyway, people, let them say what they want. It's not dark, whatever. I just prefer Demon Slayer. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anyone gaslight you into telling you that Demon Slayer is mid and then you have to crumble to them and then you join the Reddit and join the group to tell them it's mid. You're a sheep. Don't be a sheep. Be a wolf. Like real Demon Slayer fans. Imagine this, after all of this whole video, this guy's just done this thumbnail just to troll us and then at the end he's like, Demon Slayer is mid. I will find him. I will find him. Let's get straight into this. That might be the greatest intro I've ever done in anime history.
The only discussion I ever see about Demon Slayer nowadays is that it's such a mid-anime that gets completely carried by its animation. Yet Demon Slayer is one of the most recognizable animes of the new generation and was a global phenomenon at the height of its popularity. So, which one is it? The main argument I've seen is that Demon Slayer has nothing that stands out about it except for its high quality animation. But surely there's more to Demon Slayer's popularity and success than that, and I think there's a reason why it became such a global phenomenon, especially in Japan. I think we need to take a look.
I didn't even talk about popularity. I'm not a popularity Andy. I just let the work speak for itself.
Look at Demon Slayer's publication history and anime production to see where exactly did things go right for it.
Spoil it for all of us! I dare you! Spoil it!
Demon Slayer became a serialized manga in the same way that other manga get their start. Weekly or monthly magazines.
No, I don't. I never bring up popularity. I'm the guy who says... Because everyone tells me, JJK has to be amazing. It has to be. Because everyone watches it. Solo Leveling is the most watched anime in the world. Okay. Justin Bieber's the most listened to artist or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Taylor Swift. You can. I'm not saying don't like Justin Bieber and Taylor Swift, by the way. You do you. But all I'm saying is popularity doesn't always equate to the best. Justin Bieber catches and says, my bad, Justin. My bad, I see you. On your ult. Shout out to you, Kenan.
Failed to get their one-shot Hainiwa no Zigzag serialized into Weekly Shonen Jump, Tatsuhiko Katayama, Gotoge's first editor, suggested creating a manga with an easy-to-understand theme. They decided to take a look back at one of Gotoge's older one-shots, Kagarigari, because of its recognizable concepts like swords and demons that didn't need to be explained to a Japanese audience. This originally wasn't accepted for a series at the time because, at least in the editor's eyes, the story was too dark and gloomy while also lacking a lot of comedy relief. In all honesty, I do think they could have made the original Kagarigari concept work if they took it to a seinen publisher instead, because it has very similar ideas to Tokyo Ghoul. The conflict of Kagarigari starts when a demon enters Tamayo's territory, a character that would later become part of the regular Demon Slayer canon. They don't say his name, but this guy that clearly is the basis for Muzan and Tamayo team up together to try and take down this demon, and there's a conversation between the three about how demons have to be in hiding from the human world and discussions on territory, which circles back to the similarities to Tokyo Ghoul I had mentioned, just taking place in a more rural Japan setting. The demons even use their heightened sense of smell to hunt and ascertain the current situation, which also just screams Tokyo Ghoul to me. Eventually, when it looks grim for Tamayo and Muzan, a young
Bloody hell, it seems like I need to watch Tokyo Ghoul.
blind one-armed swordsman
arrives. Yo, Erase, thank you so much, bro. I appreciate it.
Before going off into
Sorry, I didn't see that.
The one-shot actually gives a lot of backstory and information that would eventually be used for Demon Slayer, like the test to become a hunter, the concept of slicing off heads to defeat demons, and the crows telling hunters where to find their next target. So how exactly were they able to get this concept reworked to get picked up by Weekly Shonen Jump, and thus starting Demon Slayer's slow but sure progress into popularity? Katayama discussed with Gotoge that switching out the protagonist for a brighter, normal character would work out better for the series. So, after taking in some influence from works like Naruto, Bleach, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Demon Slayer finally came into serialization on...
If you hate Demon Slayer, you hate Naruto, JoJo's Adventure... What was that one? Bleach.
February 16th, 2016. Now, something that a lot of Americans have a hard time believing is that Demon Slayer is one of the most popular anime manga of all time, especially because, at least in America, while Demon Slayer is a mainstream anime, it certainly doesn't have a legacy like the Big Three, for example. So what exactly happened? How did Demon Slayer become so popular? Demon Slayer's growth, as I mentioned before, was in fact a steady one. The editor-in-chief of Weekly Shonen Jump, Hiroyuki Nakano, stated that Demon Slayer's popularity started going up only after the first season of the anime had finished, which was in September 2019, 3 years after the manga had started its publication. Nakano had said that a large number of people
How is the manga
streaming services after it ended.
Anyone here read
watching it weekly as it updated. I guess some experiences are universal wherever you go, because I know a lot of people in America that like to do this as well. Nakano had also stated how it's more difficult for works to become popular while they are running in the
Demon
magazine,
Slayer.
and that Demon Slayer again did not become a major hit until 2019, which hinged on word of mouth generated after the anime's run, while also stating how the anime introduced a lot of people to manga and Jump as well. Interestingly enough, when the manga had finished, another mangaka gave their congratulations to Gotoge. Gege Akatami, the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen, had said how Demon Slayer had created many new manga fans.
You can't make this shit up. Just can't make it up. Can't make it up. The biggest ops. The biggest ops.
Akatami, the creator of Jujutsu Kaisen, had said how Demon Slayer had created...
You know what? Maybe JJK is not so bad.
many new manga fans. So, did the anime, carried by its animation, suddenly create all these fans of Demon Slayer, Shonen Jump, and manga in general? What exactly about the anime made Demon Slayer a hit? At a glance, what I've said might sound like carried by animation, but let's take a deeper look just to be safe. Now, to supplement Nakano's original observation that Demon Slayer started seeing more popularity after season 1
You're
of the
such
anime,
a hater,
it's
Smith.
important to note that Yuma
Go watch
Takahashi,
Demon Slayer.
the director of the Demon Slayer anime, specifically said that I don't think it was just the anime that caused it to become popular. According to Takahashi, the series had three main factors for its success: the power of the original work, the attitude towards adapting it into an anime, and the environment. By the power of the original work, Takahashi basically means that while people learned about the manga through the anime, that alone is not enough to generate a hit, and that the original source material must also be good in order to continue the success of both parties. Takahashi also continued to say that the manga has a lot of various charms by mixing traditional and innovative elements. The story is a classic tale about a boy's growth, meeting friends, and growing stronger together. He also mentioned how the characters, even the villains, are well developed, so it's not necessarily a one-to-one good versus evil story, but has layers to it, and I think I can agree that a lot of Demon Slayer's appeal comes from this. So, remember when I said earlier that Gotoge took influence from Bleach, Naruto, and JoJo's? Incorporating these elements on top of following...
Surely he's not about to spoil Naruto for me, right? You know what? For a Demon Slayer glazing video, I'll happily spoil
Editor Katayama's
Naruto.
advice about changing the main character really paid off for Demon Slayer. Katayama talked about the scene where Tanjiro defeats the hand demon for...
Ah, God, I'm worried now. Shit. Ah, shit. No, we're fine, right?
for example, and that after defeating him, there's a scene where Tanjiro holds his hand, praying that
Okay,
he
I
would
don't see the
never
word
turn into a
Naruto.
demon again. When I first heard of that scene, I thought there was no other main character quite like Tanjiro, and I got goosebumps. The enemy too has experienced his own sadness, and in squeezing his hand, Tanjiro shows mercy. I remember saying, no wonder that enemy is all hands, everything's connected. That's amazing, isn't it? The kindness that Tanjiro shows when fighting his enemies is similar to that of Naruto and Jonathan
I freaking love Tanjiro.
Joestar. Even in the face of adversities and injustices they might
Alright, we're gonna relax. I'm worried now.
Slayers are cruel for picking on someone weak, Tanjiro can smell the hypocrisy and disingenuousness from a mile away and just gets even more mad. He has sympathy for his enemies when they're
Naruto
more
is a better
humane
main
side
character.
reveal
I can admit that.
themselves, but isn't just blindly kind to anyone he faces. And Katayama especially loves the character of Tanjiro because of his kindness. Granted, even Gotoge did say that they were worried that Tanjiro was too normal of a character and that they weren't interesting enough, but Katayama insisted that Tanjiro was fine the way he is.
I
He
agree.
shares a lot of the same struggles that other shonen protagonists have about wanting to become stronger
Looking away.
to protect the ones closest.
Anytime
His
I
conflict
see
has
another
complexity
picture,
because
I'll
Nezuko is
jump.
also a demon, so it's not like he can outrightly say that all demons are evil, especially when he relies on the help of Tamayo as well. And Katayama believes how this conflict plays out for Tanjiro in search for a cure for Nezuko while fighting demons along the way is an incredibly unique take on a story. And I have to agree with him on that, and I think that's a really underappreciated part of the plot of Demon Slayer. Quick side note, if anyone was interested in what the Bleach influence on Demon Slayer was, Gotoge mentioned that the Gote 13 in Bleach came up a lot in meetings with their editors, so I'm assuming the Hashira have a little something to do with that. Another thing that Demon Slayer executes really well is the writing and
Thank you, Smith.
dialogue especially. Katayama mentioned that the dialogue is the part of the story that he'd like people to be aware of the most, and remarked that the scene with Giyu yelling at Tanjiro about lowering his defenses was incredibly impactful to him. For myself, I think that there are a lot of lines that have some kind of impact like that in Demon Slayer. Set Your Heart Ablaze by Rengoku is one of the main ones I can think of, but going back to Tanjiro's convictions, struggles, and emotions, I think his lines to Muzan and Akaza are incredibly impactful as well. Something about dialogue and writing that I think is worth mentioning too is that a lot of the times the translation doesn't quite do the work justice. For example, I found this interview later on while I was editing, and while the line here says, "Never leave yourself so defenseless in front of an enemy," the Japanese line was translated here as, "Don't let others have the power of life and death." Now, I don't speak Japanese myself, so I don't
You gotta translate that, man. What a line. Damn, no wonder everyone calls it mid.
want to get too hung up on this topic without better understanding, but it is a shame that we can't appreciate something as much because we don't speak the original language. Even if you try to argue that Demon Slayer is too basic, that actually works to its advantage because it helps span the appeal across multiple generations. According to an internet poll done in 2020 by Oricon Monitor Research, a lot of respondents of the survey had mentioned that they were able to treasure and connect with their families and even different generations at the workplace over Demon Slayer.
My anime is connecting families. Your anime is just special. Bro, I might go to the cinema to watch this film in a suit. You never know.
A woman
Might find
in
the
her
one there.
30s remarked that when going to karaoke with people of different age groups, everyone is able to bond over the theme songs Gorenge and Homura. A woman in her 50s said that she was having more conversations with people in her family and at work, and a man in his 60s says that he loves talking to Demon Slayer fans. For an industry that really seems to care about age and gender demographics by separating into shonen, seinen, josei, and shoujo, Demon Slayer really breaks down a lot of those barriers with its accessible quality. And that's something that Katayama envisioned about Demon Slayer. They remarked that Demon Slayer is hyper mainstream. It strongly captures human nature. Its humans overcome adversity, grow, and fight villains who deserve to be fought against. It's both mainstream and unique. It's a great work of entertainment that anyone who likes manga can enjoy, regardless of age or gender. I want it to be just that. And if
I
there's
actually miss
action
it.
shown
I
in
can't wait.
formulas being done well,
How many
within its
days have we got
components,
left?
what exactly is the problem here? And another thing to consider is that when the first season of the anime ended, people went back to read the manga, like Nakano had said, but people stuck with it. Like Takahashi said, the original work also needs to be good in order to generate this kind of hype and popularity. If the manga suddenly started struggling with its story down the line, then the manga obviously wouldn't keep up in popularity, like many other mangas I know that fell off.
Again, you're going to be like glazing, and yes, true.
Then the manga obviously wouldn't keep up in popularity, like many other manga.
I love manga covers that don't look perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like, this just looks perfect. This looks like a CGI... Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying... I don't know, Oshi. Maybe it's drawn. I don't know. I love these kind of ones, and Hunter x Hunter's one, and can't really think of anything else. Don't read this one. I've only watched one episode, and I'll never finish this anime.
I know that fell off. And I don't even think Demon Slayer is that basic, to be honest. It just borrows influences from other shonen manga just about as much as any other shonen does. So let's talk about the other thing that Takahashi had mentioned, the attitude when adapting this work into an anime. Takahashi insists that because of the foundation laid out by the original work, the studio was able to apply their respective techniques in the animation and create a wonderful show. In a separate interview with Anime News Network, Takahashi talked about how the detailed artwork of Gotoge with its distinct facial expression and striking visual choices were the biggest challenge in bringing it into motion. If you look at Gotoge's art throughout the fight scenes of the manga especially, it's incredibly dynamic and, like he said, animating these would definitely take a lot of effort. The high quality of the animation is due to Ufotable's care, attention, and experience in the anime industry. Takahashi mentioned that many of the staff have been working 5 to 10 years, so they were just pushing themselves even further with their craft, and he ultimately stated that they weren't necessarily making the...
So we've got Fate Zero, Demon Slayer. What is that? AOT? That looks like AOT. What the hell's that? What's this one? Like the look of this art style. That really looks like AOT. I have no idea what that is. That's the space anime. Speaking of space animes, I might randomly just watch off-stream Legend of the Galactic Heroes. Just letting you guys know.
Best anime ever, but to make
maybe
the
be
best
prepared for
version of
videos.
Kimetsu no Yaiba ever. They even talk about how, for example, the water breathing technique is mostly done by hand, and Takahashi proudly stated that no one in the business is better at hand-drawn techniques like this than Ufotable. Gotoge trusted
I called him Ufotable. Wait, I thought it was a meme. I thought that was a meme.
Table a lot and rarely requested changes, but rather just gave their input to, again, create the best version of Kimetsu no Yaiba as possible.
Imagine
Even
I've been saying the Wakamatsu
it's done
clan
by the
right the whole
brilliant
time.
minds of Yuki Kajira and Go Shina, who worked on other Ufotable projects.
Yeah, and they need to get their music on Spotify, please, because I'm greedy and I want it on Spotify. You know the pain of not having no Demon Slayer songs in my intro.
Kachira worked on Fate Zero and Garden of Sinners, while Goshina worked on God Eater. And because of their history with Ufotable, the animation team insisted on working with them specifically because they had such a trusting relationship together from working in the past. Even Gundam's creator, Yoshiyuki Tomino, had remarked that Demon Slayer and Ufotable's dedication to the franchise is something that he genuinely envies. According to him, the collective effort of the team of animators, musicians, and voice actors, for example, all did a great job. And that's what I'm talking about. There's so much trust, thought out planning, and care being put into the production process of making Demon Slayer that it's incredibly reductive to say that it's being carried by the animation. It's got so much going for it.
I ain't seen the rest of the world do it. If it was just carried by animation, why isn't everyone doing it?
Everything about the anime is being brought to the highest quality imaginable, and it's being done on a story with great characters,
no money,
and execution in its ideas.
Sucks
Even one
to
of the
suck.
highest rated anime
Not my fault you're
episodes of
poor.
2020
Okay, I need to relax. Guys, I'm very passionate about Demon Slayer. Sometimes I will say stuff that may get me cancelled. But I do it in honor of Demon Slayer. W's in the chat.
24 was the last episode of the Hashira training arc. That's telling me that Demon Slayer's quality is only going up as time goes on. An anime only carried by animation can't achieve as much as Demon Slayer has. I mean, just look at how many awards the anime's been nominated for or won. Forgive the wonky scrolling, but I literally couldn't take a screenshot or import a rolling
He's using one hand. Yeah.
screenshot because the file was literally too long.
I don't blame him. All Demon Slayer fans have seen that.
Won its own set of awards, including the Osamu Tezuka Cultural Special Prize for creating a social phenomenon.
Come on,
Another
guys.
quick side note, if anyone was curious about what Takahashi meant by the environment contributing to Demon Slayer's success, he was mainly talking about how streaming services help the anime steadily gain viewers over time. That being said,
Now you guys may be saying, bro, you're a hypocrite. You mocked solo leveling for winning awards.
guys understand how popular Demon Slayer actually is? Across the world, it's certainly popular, definitely one that most people have heard of, but in Japan, Demon Slayer is truly a cultural phenomenon, and I don't think it can be overstated just how popular it is over there. For example, the Red Cross in the Tokushima Prefecture saw a jump from 464 donations to 1,700 donations from April 2020.
We're saving lives! I thought I was a glazer. This guy is... Like and subscribe to him. This guy's bringing up blood samples. This guy's on a whole stratosphere. What a G!
To May 2021, and this was during the pandemic.
Chat's
mind you.
real
But many
quiet
people
right now.
attribute the Demon Slayer related advertising and their promise to hand out a free Mugen Train poster as
The
to why
haters
so
are
many more
really
people
quiet.
decided to donate blood that month. And that's not all. According to a
Shout out to Erase Kami for the £10 Demons Mid.
2020 poll conducted by education and publishing company Benesse, which asked 7,661 3rd to 6th grade Japanese children who they looked up to, Tanjiro Kamado ranked first on the top 10 most admired people.
What do I say? What do I always say? The reason people hate on Tanjiro is because he's better than them.
Which placed the children's mothers, teachers, and fathers on 2nd, 4th, and 5th place respectively, with the remaining spots occupied by other Demon Slayer characters.
Sure.
I guess it was worth it to make Agarigari more kid-friendly, because the grip that this anime has on the younger generation especially is absolutely
It's not my
insane.
fault he went
and
to
I'm
get
sure
milk.
Goteke's initial worries about Tanjiro not being an interesting enough character are certainly put to rest. And I think it's great that so many kids look up to a character like Tanjiro that's so noble anyway. And I think to many young people...
I was saying that! This is the problem. This is the problem. When people see Tanjiro, they think they are suddenly a bad person. Therefore, they hate him because he makes them look awful when they look in the mirror. And they're right.
This generation, Demon Slayer is basically their Dragon Ball. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if future manga writers say that they were inspired by Demon Slayer to create manga. Very much how Akira Toriyama inspired the writers of the Big Three, I think Goteke is going to inspire future generations as well. Even beyond that, Demon Slayer is the 9th best-selling manga of all time with over 150 million copies sold. It has beaten out Attack on Titan, Bleach, Baki the Grappler, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
Please say JJK, please.
all while being half as long as most of these series. Even other manga authors recognize the importance and significance of Demon Slayer in the industry. Eiichiro Oda, the creator of One Piece, stated that at Jump, Demon Slayer was really amazing, and I enjoyed how it was able to save the feelings of so many people. Absolutely superb work. This is how I want manga to be. It touched me somehow.
Hey, One Piece fans, where are we at? Where are we at, One Piece fans? I'm not gonna lie. Oda? I Oda you one. I might watch One Piece. I didn't know this guy was such a Chad. I might watch One Piece. I might move aside season 3 of JJK, Free Rin, whatever. I might just have to do it.
Yusuke Murata, the artist of One Punch Man's manga, remarked that its contribution
We already
to
know.
the
We already
industry
know.
as a whole is immeasurable. Even politicians were trying to use Demon Slayer's iconography and designs for their logos because they knew just how many people would recognize and remember it. So again, we asked this question. Is Demon Slayer just a mid-anime that gets carried by the animation? While I do believe there's some merit to this argument in that the anime
Excuse me?
a mid-anime, people would recognize and remember it. So again, we asked this question. Is Demon Slayer just a mid-anime that gets carried by the animation? While I do believe there's some merit to this argument,
Yeah, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He might have overly glazed. He's just being nice. Listen, Demon Slayer fans, we learn from Tanjiro to be kind and nice. So, what's happened right here is we respect everyone's opinions. And, you know, if you guys want to call it mid, that's absolutely fine. You know, whilst we do believe there is some merit to that argument, we just love our shows and, you know what I mean? And that's absolutely fine. What brings us enjoyment... Do you know what I mean?
in that the anime definitely propelled its popularity, I think it's incredibly reductive to say that it gets carried by the animation. Demon Slayer becoming the phenomenon that I believe there's some merit to this argument in that the anime definitely propelled its popularity. I think it's incredibly reductive to say that it gets carried by the animation. Demon Slayer becoming the phenomenon that it is, while it does have some factors of luck, just came from an artist and an animation studio that wanted to put out the best type of work possible in the series. Even looking at Kagaregari compared to the current Demon Slayer art, Koyoharu Gotake genuinely improved so much on their art style and storytelling, and I think that alone deserves some kind of recognition. Katayama even mentioned how much of a hard worker Gotake is and just continuously draws and draws.
Where's the mangaka of Demon Slayer? Are they not shown?
Adding on top of that the fun and
are they like anonymous
humor that Demon Slayer brings to the table, while also delivering on action.
Demon Slayer's biggest weakness, by the way. If he was a real one, this is what he would have brought up. I would have brought this up. I do love Demon Slayer's humor, but it does that annoying Full Metal Alchemist humor that I don't like. Hi, what are we watching? Just some Demon Slayer glaze.
Suspense and depth.
Nothing
Demon
else.
Slayer
Nothing new.
truly deserves its popularity, and by no means only because of animation. In fact, I would be hard-pressed to find anything about Demon Slayer that I didn't like. The only thing I can think of is that Demon Slayer could have used a little bit more time to world build and develop its characters, but even that gets exchanged for a tight...
I don't think Demon Slayer needed world building. Because it's not about the world. What I think Demon Slayer's biggest problem is one man and one man only. And his name begins with a Z.
Slayer could have used a little bit more time to world build and develop its characters, but even that gets exchanged for a tight, fast-paced story, so I think it's well worth the sacrifice. I think a lot of the Demon Slayer hate is purely because the anime is popular and doesn't deserve it, but as we can see, there's so much about the anime and manga that makes it stand out from the crowd, and I can't wait to see the anime's conclusion in the near future. Thank you so much, guys, for
Greatest video on YouTube. W. Zenitsu is the greatest character in anime. The forced hate of Demon Slayer also really shows how people don't understand the two sides of popular work. Popular for the sake of chasing popularity, and popular because of the work. I'm glad they made Tanjiro a kind person. Usually when the main character has that kind of bad, they'll become someone cold. True. I was casually rewatching the arc. My mum came in the room and started randomly watching with me. She was invested. She loves Nezuko. Your mum's a Chad. I think Demon Slayer height is a psychological of other famous anime fans. The new show get more popularity than the old. Yeah. Oh my god, thank you. Demon Slayer has such a special place in my heart. Demon Slayer saved my life. I got married because of Demon Slayer. We won't read that one. Great video, 100% agree. People need to realize not every shonen needs AOT level. Right. The hate for Tanjiro being unrealistic kind is more of a reflection on how society is losing its humanity. Listen, my takes always hit. Sorry, guys. The truth hurts. Anyone who doesn't like Demon Slayer is a nasty human being. Tanjiro's niceness makes them look in the mirror and realize that they're a piece of shit. Thank you so much for watching. This has been my Demon Slayer TED Talk. Like and subscribe. W Glaze in the chat. And I'll see you guys next time.